Hello everyone and welcome to Console Conversations. I love playing video games, as you can probably tell by the very channel you're watching this on. However, if you're brand new here, let me give you some basic info. Basically, I'm the kind of person who really only plays single-player games. I hardly ever play anything that requires multiple people, and if I do, it sure as hell isn't online. I refuse to do anything other than play with my friends right there in the room. It just isn't the same to link up through some kind of brick you carry around in your pocket. No, I need a split screen with my friends, my good friends, right there with me. Can you blame me? I have so many great friends who live right by me. Such as, well, there's always Discord, right guys? I just completely contradicted everything I just said, didn't I? Essentially what I'm trying to get at is that I love the type of game that can take me into another world, whether that be with incredible mechanics, beautiful visuals, or an impactful story. And that's really what I want to talk about today. Many people have had discussions over the years about if video games are art, and I personally find this topic very interesting as someone who plays games that contain a lot of cinematic elements. When the games you play feel like films, it makes you think about if what you're accessing through a controller is art, just as a reel playing out in front of you. So that's the question I'd like to answer today with a few key examples. Are video games art? Yes! In all seriousness, I still think this is a very clear answer, and I mainly just want to give different examples that prove it. So first, let's answer the question so we can get the whole unnecessary debate out of the way. Art is something that expresses feelings and thoughts connected to the human condition, something that can only be made by people to establish a tether with one another through our shared functions. However, art often has a strangely positive connotation. I think art is an amazing thing, don't get me wrong, but I'm referring to the fact that people often use the word art to declare the quality of a specific piece of media when it's really just a given that it is art. Even I've done this in some of my game reviews. It's one of the greatest achievements in the history of gaming that demonstrates the true artistic value of mixing beauty, technological prowess, cinematic power, thematically impactful storytelling, and addictive gameplay into one big pot of nothing but art. If someone calls a superhero movie art to show just how good they think it is, that shows that the word art has been attached to a somewhat nebulous meaning that marks something with a few extra stars of approval, which is pretty problematic when it comes to defining what is and isn't art. Something terrible can be art, and something really good cannot be art. A great and fun action movie, that's something you could argue isn't art, even if it's a really fun time, because it's not expressing any deep feelings or themes, it's just trying to be entertainment. And so when we call something art as a way of approving of it, it makes it so that you can't call something bad and stupid art without being laughed off of the proverbial stage. Is Skinamarink art? Well, as much as I don't like that movie, yes, it's trying to achieve something that expresses the feeling of childhood fear. That doesn't make it any less the worst movie I've ever seen, though. Do you see what I mean? This applies in the other direction, too, where truly great pieces of entertainment are called art just as a general method of demonstrating praise, even if they really aren't art at all from certain perspectives. What is and isn't art is pretty subjective. If you want to argue that Fast and Furious is art, then that's your right, but there are certain clear signs that something is art and that something is just entertainment. And that's where the problem comes in for video games. They have been seen as just entertainment for years, and can you blame people? It's a game. The whole purpose of a game is to entertain those who play it, to pass the time. A board game, is that art or entertainment? Well, that's its own argument, but I think we can all agree that it usually exists not to express any feelings, but rather to let those who play it have fun. So when people like the esteemed film critic Roger Ebert say that video games cannot be art for this exact reason, it's somewhat understandable. That is, if you've never played a game, or at least a modern game, in your whole life. Because holy crap, if you play any of the games I'm about to talk about for a few hours, you'll see just how easily that argument crumbles. Before I get into my examples, I do just want to state that entertainment and art are not mutually exclusive, and I'm mostly trying to explain why I think we should not gatekeep the term art and use it to separate things we like and dislike, so any game that's mainly just entertainment can have parts of it that are genuinely artistic genius, which makes the package as a whole, from many people's perspectives, art. So let's take a look at our first example. Oh God. Please help us all. Okay, so if you didn't see my video about this abomination, all you need to know is that, well, I think it's an abomination, but is Death Stranding art? I mean, after all, it felt like Hideo Kojima was sort of trying to prove the artistic value of gaming with this game by making it as little of a game as possible. However, there is a story trying to be told here. The game has about 11 hours of cutscenes, give or take, Jesus Christ, which makes it as long as, well, about one Scorsese movie, so that actually checks out. I think the story is complete trash, but I can't say it doesn't show potential. Just as how a movie like Skinamarink can try to tackle fascinating themes and totally fumble, Death Stranding deals with the division of America, isolation, the value of human connection, and the forces that tear us apart. If that's not art, I don't know what is. Death Stranding is art, and it is a video game. Kinda. Yeah, this definitely isn't the best gaming experience ever. In fact, it's probably a little bit close to the worst, if you can even believe that, from the riveting gameplay you're seeing on screen right now. But the story deals with so many themes that have so much artistic value that I can't say this isn't art with purpose. Hell, even the horrible gameplay is being done this way so that it can reflect those themes. It just doesn't work. But if video games can tackle such amazing themes when they're complete dog shit, what can they do when they aren't? Well, to some people, that transition's efficacy just flatlined. The Last of Us Part 2, a game that everyone loves. And when I say everyone, I mean people with a brain. Huh? This game might not unite any two people watching this video, but hey, let's still dive in. Listen, Part 2 haters, if I could bring myself to call Death Stranding art, then you can do the same for this game. I believe in you. The Last of Us and its sequel are games that I personally adore, more so the second one, that's right, crucify me. These games are a truly phenomenal set of experiences, mainly due to the stories they tell. Don't get me wrong, they have amazing music, visuals, and gameplay, well, the second one does, but the story is the main area people praise, or loathe, here. Characters in The Last of Us are complex and used to tell important and impactful lessons about violence, retribution, war, perspective, and, just like in Death Stranding, division. Except instead of showing you division by having you play a UPS simulator and then listen to the worst dialogue ever written since Jason! The Last of Us flaunts its depressive, dense dystopia world with incredible little details, characterization, and brilliant storylines that twist and turn everywhere. These stories are so ambitious and are so enjoyable to gradually uncover with each chapter of the games. It's like an HBO show. Wait a minute. So yeah, The Last of Us is art. I mean, anyone who didn't know this was a video game would watch the HBO adaptation and would probably say it was art. So why not the games? The story is a part of the game, and you experience parts of the story as well as the world surrounding it through the gameplay. So in that way, the structure is actually even more effective than that of many films or shows, in my view. By fusing traditional cinematic storytelling and the insane variety of opportunities that gameplay opens up, gaming becomes an art form with the ability to tell stories in a brand new, incredibly impactful way. I mean, when you play through this sniper segment in The Last of Us 2 and then have a twist revealed to you in the story, it's so much more effective because of the tough battle you've just gone through. With a film, there's only so much of a link that can be established to make us feel like we've experienced the same things as the characters. But what about a game that dares to be art, without even focusing on the story? Sure, we've gotten a multitude of game stories that are honestly better than 99% of stories I've seen in movies, such as The Last of Us games, God of War Ragnarok, the Rising games, and even Ghost of Tsushima, so basically all Sony games. However, what if a game was true artistic brilliance, while also having a mundane and basic story? Well, that's where Nintendo steps in. Games such as Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, and even the original Zelda on NES are without a doubt art. Why? Well, they might not tell some kind of brilliant masterpiece story about destiny, fate, and family that leaves you a changed person by the end, but they spark a sense of wonder and imagination within you as you explore a virtual world. And that counts for something. When you explore the world of Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time and see so much passion and love poured into making it feel authentic, how is that not an artistic achievement? It's putting you in the shoes of fantasy and transporting you far away, which has been inextricably intertwined with the fundamentals of art, especially literature, for centuries. Fantastical elements, when done in a compelling way, encapsulate those who experience them, which can only be achieved by humans. Only we can dare to bring one another into a completely different world that springs from our imagination. And that's best achieved, in my view, by actually controlling and playing through said world, like you truly live in it. And isn't that what art is all about? Humanity?
Either that, or I'm just having a really hard time understanding humans. I mean, can you guys really blame me? I look like this. How the hell am I supposed to understand you people?
Finally, I want to highlight that these two big Japanese corporations are not the only ones who have created incredible games that show why the medium truly is art. Whether that be the incredible trip down memory lane that is Undertale, where, just as in Zelda and Mario, you're shown so many bizarre and creative elements of a fantasy world singing in harmony to help you connect your real past to a virtual nostalgia, the uplifting and inspiring commentary on anxiety and accepting your own identity cleverly woven into the devilishly difficult design of Celeste's classic stages, or the coming-of-age tale all about finding yourself by whatever crazy, bizarre flights of fantasy necessary within Sayonara Wild Hearts.
So many games over the years have done an amazing job of demonstrating the artistic value of gaming across the board, through impactful narratives, beautiful visuals, encapsulating worlds, and compelling gameplay that makes your imagination run wild. Or often a combination of all of them. And I think that's beautiful. These games are true proof that games are art. And I can't wait to see what the industry will bring with it next. What incredible new stories and worlds I'll get to experience in the near future. The future is looking bright for those who dare to call video games art. But hey, of course I'm not one of those idiots. I mean, my local Pac-Man arcade cabinet wasn't drawn by some French guy 400 years ago and then hung up in some fancy building for people to gawk at, so how the hell can it be art?